Real golf talk. This is Play It Where It Lies, a Bash Brothers Media golf show and podcast.
Play It Where It Lies alongside the Gent, Stuart, Conway. I'm John Wiener. Stuart, I've been playing golf my whole life and still don't have a hole-in-one. Almost got one this past weekend, but my life search continues.
That's a shame. You know, I've been fortunate. I've now had 6 hole-in-ones.
You would.
I know. But the last 2 were on my own, so I'm not sure I can really count those. But I did make them.
The Gent with 6 hole-in-ones, and yours truly still searching for my first one. Does that make me a bad golfer that I haven't gotten a hole-in-one?
Not at all. As everybody says, if you get it close to the hole, it's a great shot. If it goes in, it's lucky.
Well, it's Play Where It Lies, and we'll take the ace, and we'll take you with us here. We're glad you're with us. We're online at Bash Brothers Media, all of our platforms as well. You can see the video show on Facebook and YouTube. You can get the podcast version on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and we're here every week alongside Stuart the Gent Conway, Margo Coleman coming up later, Executive Director of the First Tee of Central Mississippi. Excited for that one. It's such an important program here in this state, around the country, but nowhere more so than here.
Yeah, and we'll maybe get to talk to her about some of the misconceptions about it and
Absolutely.
see what's going on and give us the real story of what the First Tee is about.
We'll have Play It, Drop It, Roll It, everybody's favorite segment. Got a lot of good stuff in there this week. We'll get into our tough lies as it relates to getting new golf clubs. You think it's an easy, exciting deal, but it can drive you crazy and send you down the wrong direction, and we'll have our punch-outs to close. But Stuart, let's start with the tee shots. And have you played golf recently since the new rules with keeping the pin out, where you're allowed to do it, where some people wanted the pin in, some people wanted the pin out, and it was a problem?
I haven't experienced it as being a problem per se, but it as when it was supposed to speed things up, it doesn't. But I think that. Most people that I'm playing with now are reverting back to pulling the pin most of the time.
I played in a foursome this weekend, and I since the new rules, I haven't played a ton of serious 18-hole golf. You know the schedule, man. It's like I sneak out with Hack and Hank. We play 9, like he barely gets it on the green, so I don't have to worry about like leaving the pin in for somebody. But it became this situation where, I'm fine if you want to put the pin in, and I'm fine if you want to put with the pin out. But both of us, different people in the group wanted different things. And when it came down to a 5 or 6 footer, I wanted the pin out, and then, but he wants the pin in, so you take the pin out, and then you put the pin back in. But the real problem was deciding every hole. It was like every time we got to the green, you want it in, you want it out, oh, I don't care. And it made you feel like someone had to make a decision. Yeah. And they were like, well, if you want it out, then just take it out. And like I felt like the bad guy, but also it was just like an untenable situation. Every green to say in or out and sort of, oh, it doesn't matter, but I kind of care.
Yeah, I mean, and you're absolutely right. And I've heard many stories like this about people who go this, putting it in, pulling it out, putting it in, pulling it out. You can have foursomes. I heard one story in a tournament where they were putting it in for every player. It was in, it was out, it was in, it was out. And it's just a pain.
It's miserable.
And then, as you say, people then feel like, well, if they're leaving it in, I'll just leave it in too. But it's affecting your game at that.
And that is like the bigger problem with it. In golf, when you tee off, you say, look, we'll play it down, down all the way. Or, you have rules that you set sort of before the round. So what's the solution here? Like, I don't think you can say, well, we're just going to leave the pin in the whole time, or we're going to pull it out. Because I'm like, if I've got a 6-footer that I want to hit, I'm taking it out. And so what's the solution?
The solution is for a great USGA RNA to rescind some of the rules that they brought in and make it so that, hey, listen, in amateur golf, if you're 30 yards away and you're on the front of the green and the pin is all the way in the back of the green, it's okay to leave it in. But it shouldn't be. That's okay for a Saturday, Sunday, Thursday afternoon round where you're just playing there. But we're just the USGA. They people talk about unintended consequences. Heck, that's what they're paid for, not to have unintended consequences. That's what they're supposed to be doing.
And I think this was not thought out. I think they got it colossally wrong.
Yeah, the entire set of rule changes were almost, to a point, worthless to the game of golf. And as for renaming. You know, I don't know what to say instead of dormy. We're all square. I don't know if I can say that anymore. You know, I mean,
well, and that stuff is extraneous. But it became it almost created tension between me and the other golfers. This like unintended, unwanted. Like no one wants to step on the other guy's line, so to speak. But it can be a difference maker. And I found myself, through 12 or 13 holes, like, I don't even care. Let's just decide on something. Because the whole rigmarole of getting to the green and having to go through it every time was not enjoyable.
No, it isn't enjoyable. And if you look at it in a little more depth and say that the people will also do it so they might be 4 foot away. If they're above the hole, they'll leave it in. If they're 4 foot away below the hole, they'll take it out. If they're coming in from the high side on a break or the low side, and there's all this stuff going on in people's minds. It's just a nonsense. It's take the pin out when you're playing tournament golf.
So I'm with you. Yeah. You're with me on that one. Like, I'm
totally
just really anti keeping the pin in. Like from 50 feet away, that's what I mean. It's like common sense is supposed to save time in that respect. If I happen to knock it in the hole from 60 yards and the pin is in, then I shouldn't be penalized. But don't complicate the game by taking the rule to the other direction. But I'm glad, and it's a Gent move. Totally pulled the pin no matter what. Like I'm with you, man. I don't want the pin in ever.
Yeah, I'm with you. The hole's bigger.
That's what I think. And Hack and English and statistic this and that. I'm like, I see the bottom of the. I want to see the bottom of the hole.
Yeah, I wonder how that statistic really works out when it all comes down to it. I mean, there is probably 0.5% improvement in putting.
The idea, is that it will help you, but that's if every putt is hit the same. That's if you're a robot and the pin in visually doesn't affect you. Those tour guys, like they're fairly robotic. But for me, as like an amateur who's like putting feels like so much feel and visualization, like I want to see the cup. We move to our re-tee. The Zurich Classic down in New Orleans this past weekend in the PGA Tour. When they announced the team format a few years ago, I remember we were doing a golf show and we were excited about it. A lot of people were excited at the outset. Great new thing, fun, brought a lot of attention. How do we feel about it now?
Well, I think it's run its course. Is the way you can see that the big names are not showing up as much for it. There's a lot of people not playing in it. I found it one of the least enjoyable watches of the year so far. I don't know why. And I suddenly started thinking about what it's doing to the game. And what happens is that, okay, so did Brooks Koepka bring his brother Chase over from the European Tour to try and get Chase a PGA Tour card?
Yeah.
I mean, was there an ulterior motive?
You don't like the monkey games with the exemptions.
I do
know. That's a big one for you.
And so it's kind of like, so Ryan Palmer and John Rahm win it, and there's no big hoo-ha and this and that, but they get a PGA Tour win. I mean, thank goodness there is an alternate shot in it, because I think it's, if it was just straightforward 4-ball, I think that...
Sure, Ryan Palmer 2 years in a row just getting the card off for like Spieth and John Rahm. Good call.
It's a bad thing, I mean, they get FedEx Cup points, so they go up there. I mean, they could play 2 awful rounds and their partner carry them through the 2 4-ball rounds and still get a win.
But I want to go back to what you said, because certainly, again, like the exemptions and the FedEx Cup points, I think that matters to some, and I think maybe you more so than me. But in terms of the enjoyability, in terms of the watchability, which I'm big on in golf, and we'll get to some other things that were going on this weekend that were a lot more enjoyable. I think people thought that like these great tour players teaming up and showing personality and the walkout music and this whole New Orleans vibe, that it was going to be a better watch, that it was going to be more exciting. But for some reason, it's like I'm less interested.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not interested at all in it. I will say that, and I think that if you compare it to, and I don't know how many people have watched or heard about the European Sixes that they do, where they have this match play tournament, 6-hole match play tournaments, and shot clocks and fireworks and stuff going off. There's much more excitement and pizzazz about it. This is just kind of like a golf tournament that's a bit quirky.
It does. It feels gimmicky, and it's almost like, well, then you miss the because it's not, match play. You don't have that Ryder Cup setting. You almost miss the, I won't say routine of it, because part of it is, look, there's a monotony in the PGA Tour and the routine, and this was supposed to break it up, and there's occasional events that do that. The WGC match play, you had your, Shark Shootout back in the day.
Sure,
that's the Franklin Templeton, I think now.
Yeah.
Shout out the Shark Shootout. That was a nice pull.
Shootout.
But, I think you find yourself just wanting to, see the guys in the heat of the battle, like one-on-one. The team thing beyond the selection and the walkout music just hasn't really, I don't know, caught on for me.
And they only get like 10 seconds of the walkout music. It's not. They're not playing 30 seconds as everybody, or a minute as they all walk out through the tunnel and fireworks go off and make it more impressive. It's pretty mundane.
It's almost, like it's sort of, they're still like a little bit ashamed to like go all the way with it. I don't know, but it's a good point. And so maybe, we continue again. I think there ought to be a rethink there a little bit on the Zurich Classic, and I think that was a consensus from a lot of people this week. And say, man, this tournament just doesn't have any sauce for whatever reason. Let's hand out some Play It Where It Lies awards. Again, golf puts us in tough spots in golf and in life. What makes a difference is how you play it when you're faced with that situation. Who you got? What do you have for us this week?
I've got this week. It's an important one to me, and it's one of my golfing partners, Joe Lane, and his wife Glenda. Their grandson was born 16 years ago with cerebral palsy. He was born blind and had other complications. Joe and Glenda cared for that child for 16 years. He was only given four years to live in the beginning. And they cared for that child for 16 years, and he passed away last Thursday. And Joe and Glenda never once complained that they couldn't go out. Joe never complained he couldn't play golf. He never complained. He just took it and played it where it lied. This was the boy's life. They gave him the best life he could. And so I think it's important to look at people like that and see how well that they handled it and handled themselves. And my kudos go out to Joe and Glenda Lane for that.
It's a great award this week. It gives me chills and to think about, and the hair stands up a little bit. What a heroic performance in taking ultimately the tough spot and not complaining about it, not again trying to drop it or do something else, just doing the best that they can. So Joe and Glenda playing it where it lies in life in every sense of the word. And we gave out one to our friend Mike Sands a few weeks ago that was a similar situation. And that again, and we'll talk with Margo Coleman coming up in a little bit, that is the convergence, the transference a lot of times with golf and life is how you deal with the toughest situations. As you say, no one, you put the ball there, you know what I mean? But in a lot of times in a situation like this, it's circumstances out of your control entirely. So shout out to Joe and Glenda. That's great, Stuart. Mine's going to be a little lighter note. I'm going to give it to the Bass Pro Legends of Golf.
Okay.
I don't know if you got a chance to watch it this weekend.
I didn't. I played a lot of golf this week.
Well, good for you. I didn't really play any. I got out like late Friday afternoon. I just think, again, I thought this was much more enjoyable for me to watch this week than the Zurich Classic. And what I liked about the Bass Pro Legends of Golf. Now, it's up at the Big Cedar Lodge in Arkansas. It's just a stupendous piece of property. My goodness. But it's a celebrity, it's a Legends of Golf deal. And the group that I watched on Sunday was Gary Player, another old veteran, but it was Gary Player, Justin Timberlake, Larry the Cable Guy, Paige Spiranek, who's like the Instagram influencer model. It was so enjoyable to watch, Stuart. It was so fun, and it, to me, like summed up everything that can be great about the game. You had all different ages. I mean, everyone from the youngest guys all the way, to Gary Player, and they're all playing the same game, hitting the same shots. You had people from all kinds of walks of life, which I think is important to see. Like, you talk about growing the game. I think youth, people seeing Justin Timberlake and Larry the Cable Guy and Paige Spiranek in the same group. You couldn't be sort of three more different walks of entertainment life. And they were all just enjoying themselves so much. Now, all pretty decent golfers. Justin Timberlake's really good.
Yeah,
Larry the Cable Guy couldn't miss. I mean, Timberlake's really, really good. He's a scratch golf. He's like +1.
Yeah.
But it was the collection of diversity in age and diversity in background. All of them could hit the ball a little bit, and they were having so much fun. It made me as a viewer have so much fun, and I think like that's golf at its best, and that's the golf we need to see more of, not the 6-hour LPGA round, as you say, not like trying to trick it up and let's go with like, teams of 2 here in the PGA Tour and try to shake up the monotony and bring some little walk-up music. I think seeing different people from all different walks of life, famous faces, enjoying the game, playing together, playing well, let's be honest. I thought it was just a marvelous job and collection there at the at Bass Pro. It really, for me, like the game at its best, what it can be.
Yeah, it's a stunning place out there. I mean, it really is. Some of those holes are just absolutely gorgeous, and it just shows what can be done with a short course.
Yeah,
it's terrific. It's a great tournament, and I think people enjoy that more.
That's what I mean.
Playing it and watching it than they do the Zurich Classic anymore, which started off as a great idea, but it just never developed. I think that was the issue with that. So there it is. So that's playing it where it lies, telling it how it is.
And again, big shout out and kudos to Joe and Glenda. And our thoughts go out to them. Coming up in Play It, Drop It, Roll It here on Play It Where It Lies, we'll get into some par 3 courses, little tailor-made driver promotions. Tiger Woods makes an appearance as usual. And Play It, Drop It, Roll It. Again, Tough Lies. Margo Coleman still to come in the show. We'll punch out. But we're glad you're with us. Hack and Hank hanging out. Josh the Juice on audio. Stuart the Gent Conway. I'm John Wiener.
Golf puts you in tough spots. We play it where it lies.
Well, John, it's that time again that we both love in this show. It's time for Play It, Drop It, Roll It.
Okay, here's a bonus Play It, Drop It, Roll It for you. Over the break, Hack and Hank said he made 2 eagles in 1 round. Do you believe it? Play it, drop it, roll it.
I'm going to play it.
Yeah, of course we're going to play it. Hack and Hank back there. I don't know, man. So you've made 6 hole-in-ones.
6 hole-in-ones.
And an albatross. And Hack and Hank made 2 eagles in 1 round.
That's pretty darn good.
And I can't even get the damn ball in the hole.
Wow. I had 2 eagles in 1 round. That was at Hugh Ward State Park.
Hugh White State Park. Oh, down in Macomb.
Yeah. No, up
up in Dogwoods in Grenada. Love that place.
They got that little short par 4 dog leg.
Yeah.
And I must have been a lot younger because I drove the green across
it's like
across
the 3rd
dog
hole up there.
and made the putt for a 2, and then par 5 right afterwards. Hit my second shot into the green and made the eagle putt there. So eagle. That's the only time I've ever done that.
I love that place.
I love
Dogwoods.
that place too.
I think it's just a fantastic layout. It's everything that I want in a golf course, Stuart. It's a PGA. It's a championship course in that you hit real golf shots.
Yes, you do.
In terms of the elevation, the size of the green, the bunkers, the movement, the routing. Yeah. But it's open. It's friendly. You can attack it. It's in a beautiful setting. It won't cost you more than $50 to play it. I think Dogwoods, with just a little uptick in condition. I'm not one of these people, I don't have the Stuart Conway money, where I'm living on the golf course. It's just about like my ideal place to play golf.
I love it. I mean, I love the fact that it's got generous fairways for people who spray it around a bit and can still enjoy the round, you know? And they could toughen it up.
That's what I mean, but it's not like why it's not like this, you just go bang it, and like every hole's the same. It couldn't be more opposite, but there's plenty of room to hit the ball.
Yeah, there is.
There is. Hack and Hank was talking about the 2 eagles that he made, and thinking about the course that he said, I can believe. Have you played Purcell Farms in Alabama?
I have not.
Farm Links.
I have not.
It's a terrific golf course. It's over there about 45 minutes east of Birmingham. And, we always play the Robert Trent Jones Trail. It's a fantastic trail. Again, same thing, beautiful setting, great golf. Dogwoods is sort of a Robert Trent Jones course, like not in as good a condition, but similar kind of feel. But there's a Farm Links is over there. It's a friend said, hey, if you're looking for something different than the Robert Trent Jones, go play Farm Links and Purcell Farms. Similar deal, really great piece of property, kind of a bit of a hidden gem, kind of kept a little bit off the path, but wide open fairways, beautiful elevation, great routing, exciting, fun golf course.
That's great.
So let's do the play it, drop it, roll it.
Let's do it.
Again, we're driven by Gulf States Golf Cars. We're online really everywhere. You get your video shows, podcasts, just search Bash Brothers Media, or of course, play it where it lies. All right, first up, Eduardo Molinari outs slow play violators. I think you saw it. He did it on Twitter. It's been making its rounds. Eduardo Molinari outs slow play violators.
I am playing that with a capital P.
Of course you are.
Yeah, I mean, how can you not call out this whole thing with the PGA Tours, LPGA Tours, every tour, which reflects back onto our own golf courses. I mean, we've got to do something about slow play. We've just got to do something about it.
Yeah, but I don't think Francesco Molinari on Twitter is going to have that effect.
Well,
I don't think that's doing something about it.
I do. I think he will. You know, he got some pushback on it already, you know, with it. And I think he had 1,500 replies. And he said if he got 1,500, he would redo it in the afternoon for the ones
and put out the list. He said, I didn't think, he put out his original tweet that said slow play has to stop. And then people pushed back. And he said, well, I'll tell you what, if I get, 10,000 retweets or whatever, I'll post a list of the violators. And sure enough, he did.
He did.
I give him credit for posting. I'm going to roll this one. Which I don't love to do, but this is a tough spot because certainly something needs to be done about slow play.
Yeah.
We know that. Certainly, it's an issue that should be at the forefront, and it is. I'm going to agree with, I can't remember what other PGA Tour pro that said it was beating a dead horse, a little bit of low-hanging fruit, grandstanding maybe, if you will. I'm generally not for people who take to social media to out people, to have their tirades sort of be viral, and I know that was a place where Molinari would get a lot of viewers, but I'm... we all understand the sentiment. We all agree. I thought it was unfair is not quite the right word. I thought it was a little bit of grandstanding and low-hanging fruit. Back up, pipe down, Molinari. If I won't say if he was a better player, he'd be on tour or he wouldn't have the position to just pop off on Twitter. That's not fair. He's an excellent player. But I'm going to stop short just because, poor form, I think. Bad form a little bit.
Well, I think that you can view it that way. You can view it the way I would look at it and say that those people who are slow playing other players are not abiding by the laws and rules of golf, and certainly not by the etiquette of golf, and they're affecting the other players more than they're not being affected. The slow players are not being affected at all by their slow play.
Right.
Their playing partners are
everyone
being
else who's losing.
Everybody else is losing out. And trust me, I believe that in the years to come, this is going to affect the television and the people who watch the PGA Tours on television and on other social media events. They'll just watch them in little bits. They'll watch 5 minutes. They'll watch highlights. But who is going to sit there anymore for that amount of time? We all know that time is of the essence nowadays.
I'm raising my hand for the camera. Me, I will
you're
sit
gonna
there.
Sit there
I told you this last week. Golf's slow anyways.
It is slow, but
what do you want to watch, a track meet?
I don't mind.
You want to watch the 100 meters?
Listen,
watch the Olympics.
You think 4 hours is not long enough?
You
think it's not long enough?
I got my Sunday blocked off, man. Where am I going? That's what I mean. It's still a 5-hour broadcast.
5.5 hour rounds should not exist.
But see, it's funny. The slow play thing for the PGA Tour, the slow play bothers me in my game, in my course. Speed the hell up. But it doesn't. The PGA Tour and the watchability.
Only because they cut from player to player, from group to group.
You're right.
From tour to tour. So that they can fill in and they go back into the studio and talk to some commentators about what they're all on the side of. Most commentators are on the side of the tour players. Yeah. Most commentators do not want to argue with them or get involved with any controversy in case they can't get an interview with them anymore.
Well, a little harsh. I think the commentators understand what's at stake. I think the commentators understand more than anybody else how much is riding on every single shot and how much pressure there is, and honestly how the golfer, it's his call. The golfer's in control, whether what the gallery wants, what the official wants. When it's your time to hit the golf ball, you're the only thing that matters.
Well, there is a time. There is a time limit on it.
And I think that's
where does it end? You know, where does it end? How long is the round before it
Not
becomes...
until Molinari gets on Twitter and blasts a few more people, obviously.
Well,
that's our ticket to it, man.
Somebody needs to say something. I don't care whether
So
it's Eduardo Molinari.
He's your hero, huh?
He's saying the right thing. Somebody is saying the right thing.
Yeah, well, it's
you
a
know,
good call.
And the PGA Tours have long been shielding players from public scrutiny over all sorts of things. So that's a question for another day.
Play it, drop it, roll it. Par
Okay.
3 courses. We just talked about
We
it.
did talk about par 3s. Great courses. You know what? I learned to appreciate par 3s as I got older, much more.
Yeah.
When we were younger and we used to go on our golf buddy trips and we'd play 36 holes in a day. And now we play...
You would look at par 3 courses with disdain.
Indeed. Yeah,
Absolute
yeah.
disdain and disgust.
But now, not only do we play the par 3 courses, we have the best time on in the afternoon, right? We play 9 holes on a little par 3 course. And let me tell you something. Some of those Alabama par 3 courses at Robert Trent's, they're amazing. They're amazing.
Terrific. And probably the hardest, like, relative to par. You know what I mean?
Let me tell you something. We decided at one point in time now, not only do we play the par 3, we play it from the forward tees.
Yeah, we just
and
flipping
it's
wedges.
just great fun in there, you know? Even I'll drink a couple of beers in there.
Absolutely. What do you mean, like, the gent doesn't drink beers? I know you don't, not as much on the course.
No,
but,
I can't do it. I lose my equilibrium very easily.
It didn't look like you had much equilibrium out there the other day.
No, I didn't.
There was no beer to blame for that one. And I'm going to play this one as well, really for the same reasons. Like as I get older with less time and probably less game and like still an appetite for consuming on the course. Yeah. Play it all day, par 3s. But I'm with you. Like back in the day, I would say I don't want to play a par 3 course. But now, I do. I'm all about like fun and enjoyment.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll get my hole in one day. I should play more par 3 courses.
You should.
Maybe I get a hole in one.
No,
I'm with you. And like the Randy Watkins courses around here in the Mississippi area, I would always tell people, there's Patrick Farms, there's Lake Caroline, and there's Whisper Lake. And this is not about the conditions of the course, just Whisper Lake. Like I enjoy the layout a lot. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of good par 3s, and there's a lot of good parts in the course. And I would contend that of those 3 courses, it's the hardest relative to par, to go shoot even par. Because if you're playing from the tips, you're hitting a lot of times in golf with a lot of your everyday, right? Public courses, your par 4s, to use Caroline again. And I saw Randy the other day. I mean, Randy does a great job. He's got it humming. Love Randy Watkins.
Yep.
Caroline's a lot of driver, half wedge. You're not hitting a lot of 5-iron, 6-irons, but you go Whisper Lake and play it from the back. Some of those par 3s, there's all par 3s, but some of them are 185, 190.
Yeah, they are. You're hitting 3 irons, 4 irons, 5
hit
irons.
Real golf shots. So I think that's a misconception. I think
it is.
Sometimes with par 3s that it's all just flip wedges. Much to the contrary. What else we got?
Yeah. So tee honors matter in a friendly game.
I'm gonna drop this one. We were playing this past weekend, and I think when you're playing ready golf, unless you're playing a match or everyone's making birdies and pars, I think it can present some problems sometimes. But I'm generally like tee it and be it, man.
No, I'm rolling it too. I'm agreeing totally with you on this one here. I think the only time I give it up is I'll let the birdie. I'll let the birdie guy go first, or at least offer to him. So you're not
a stickler for the tee matters. Two guys made par, 2 guys made bogey.
If you're playing in
away.
a tournament or a match play or something, it makes a difference. No, if you're playing on Saturday morning, Sunday morning, you're just playing with the guys with your little bets and things.
Is everyone in your group feel the same?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
So we're all the majority on that.
We're absolutely the majority. Yeah. So definitely rolling it on that one.
Tiger Woods skipping the Wells Fargo is a bad sign.
I'm dropping that. I don't think it's a bad sign for Tiger on that one there. I think that he's got many commitments. He's not a spring chicken anymore, and so he has to be very careful. He's just signed some deal over in Japan to do some tournaments out there and some promos and playing.
You're telling me the Wells Fargo is not like why Tiger gets up and goes to bed these days?
I'm telling you that winning the Wells Fargo is probably not the way he wants to win the PGA record, But I think that not
a bad sign. You're going to drop it.
No, I'm dropping that.
I'm going to drop it too, and I think that we talked with like Shane Bacon a couple of weeks ago. Like even Tiger Woods is not exempt from the Masters hangover. You know, what do you do after that? It totally changes everything. I'd venture to say that if Tiger had not won at Augusta, he might be playing in the Wells Fargo. But certainly after he put that green jacket on, it just, even for Tiger Woods, the life became a different stratosphere. And so I think that it's all about Bethpage in a couple weeks. I think but let's face it, there's a little less pressure on Tiger now to go, win a random tournament or to get himself ready for the PGA now that he's won at Augusta. I still think, again, he's the favorite at Bethpage, so something to pay attention to, but I'm with you. I think it's, I don't think it's a bad sign.
Yeah. Music on the golf course.
Oh, man. I actually don't have as much conviction one way or the other on this as you would think I would. There are times when I like music on the golf course. There are times when I don't mind it. And there are times when I don't friggin' want it. So I don't know. But I'm going to go with play it because generally I think on this show the mantra is enjoy the game, relax out there, have some fun. Like, I'm a really serious golfer, and if I feel like it's messing with my head, I'll be like, look, can you turn that off? Like, I don't want the music. I'll play maybe, I don't know, 1 out of every 5 rounds. Like, I'll turn some music on. So I don't have like a huge conviction on it, but I'll say play it simply because, like, as long as you're not interfering with somebody else and you're enjoying the game.
Yeah, I'm dropping it. On there because I think that it puts the onus on the person who doesn't want to listen to it to have to say something, and one of the things I heard somebody else talk about this on I can't remember which commentators it was that were talking about it, and as I grew up playing golf and learning to play golf and I'm on the course, I found that I enjoyed the solitude out there.
Yes,
I enjoyed the walk in the park, so to speak, and I can listen to music every minute of the day.
That's a good point, Stuart.
And so when I'm on the golf course, I'm thinking, that's not the time. This is the time I enjoy my walk. I enjoy the golf. I enjoy the camaraderie. It's the same reason I don't smoke cigars on the golf course.
Well, I think it's a good point. It's part of it. Like 25 years ago, no one was bringing a stereo out to the golf cart. I don't think I've seen that in Myrtle Beach before. Like the Goon Squad, they came around, they had the boombox on top of the golf cart, like blasting Def Leppard, and I'm on the tee. And that one, I was dropping that one all the way. Like they got some pangs of death stares. I tell you, man, because me and my buddy were just locked in a match. It was like 13th. It was our second round. We're on our 30th hole, just sweating over the next 6-iron, and these guys come around just blasting like Def Leppard, just goonery, and I was dropping that one. But I think part of it is, we have cell phones now, so it's so easy, and we have less attention than ever, us millennials, so we have to have other things going on. I can certainly see from like a generational perspective, no way, no how, but I think it's a great point that my favorite time on the golf course is the silence early in the morning. If I'm generally I think the less serious I am about the match about like the game will generally dictate whether music or not. Like I'm out there with like Hack and Hank and Tyler Cleveland, and like balls are just flying everywhere, and like we're gonna be like in the fairway for an hour when they find it. Like I'll throw the music on.
I can see it. And I don't object to it in the big scheme of things, but personal preferences is where I am.
Let's wrap up with this one. Chipping with the 60. I'm interested to hear you here. I have an idea where you're going to go. Play it, drop it, roll it. Chipping with the 60.
I'm dropping the 60. I don't have a 60 in my bag. The most I have is a 58.
You play that old school ground game.
Yeah, and I've always believed that chipping is get the ball on the ground as quick as you can. Get it rolling up the hole because it's more like a putt and everything else. 60 is for a lot of people, it's a dangerous shot, easy to scull it, easy, when it's wet, easy to dig it in, a quarter inch behind the ball, and it just pops up and goes nowhere. The ball can roll up the face and come off high on the face. I just think that with a chip, that's a scoring shot, and a 60-degree wedge, a full shot with it, from 80 yards or whatever you hit it, it is not so bad, but... other than that, I think it's a risky shot, and I think there are more disadvantages to using it than using it.
I agree with you 100%. I'm going to drop it also. I think there are anytime you need to elevate the ball and you've got the right lie uphill slope, you go with the 60.
Yeah.
But I'm with you, and specifically because of what you say, because I see so many people just muddy it up so colossally. It is the most inconsistent club in terms of, like you say, how it's going to come out. It's easy to stick it in the ground, and how many times have we seen the big 60 swing that turns into like a blade that shoots off someone's George Foreman grill on the deck behind the fourth hole.
Yeah.
A couple of guys in here, I think, may have hit that shot once or twice, found a clubhouse window or two with the big 60.
Have, yeah.
But for me, it's not as much getting it on the ground, Stuart, as just consistency. When I see people chip, I'm flabbergasted. Like, how are you chipping like that? Because to me, it's like it's something different every time.
Yeah.
And I think the 60 sort of lends to that. I think the key in chipping is finding a stroke and a contact in a club you can just repeat over and over again.
Right.
I think, 60, maybe you can get the ball on the flag. I think something you consistently hit solid chips, get the ball 6 or 7 feet, give yourself a chance. I think that's where amateurs lose the most is around the green, sort of without the consistency in the chip shots. And so I'd go away from the 60 there. I used to chip with the 52 and almost exclusively. And now I've gone to the 56 for some reason, but never the 60. I love the 60. I feel like a wizard with it, but only in certain situations. Like, I'm not going to chip regularly with it, but people fall in love with it, I think.
They do.
It's like you hitting the high, pure flat
it's a
shot.
sexier shot, isn't it, to play that shot,
We're all for sexy on Play It Where It Lies. I mean, look, the gent is looking svelte. You are looking good these days, man.
Well, I keep losing a little bit of weight every now and again. Here, it's doing good for me.
Have you lost yardage on the T-ball?
I have.
You have?
I have lost. I lost my game a
you
little.
You don't quite have that roll, like the stomach doesn't roll through and turn the ball over.
The momentum doesn't keep it going. I have lost a little yardage and I've lost a little game, I have to say, that I've got.
I think every golfer who was fat and lost weight was better fat. Not that you were fat.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm trying to say.
I was.
No, you weren't.
I've still got about 4 pounds to lose before I'm no longer obese.
Well, Jason Duffner was much better fat.
Yeah.
Rory McIlroy was much better fat.
Yeah.
People's the return of fat Rory when it was more about just throw it down and play golf instead of chisel Adonis. A little more play golf instead of play golf swing.
Yeah. That was my worst of the week or whatever.
Oh, right. No, I was trying to think how we got there. I was we're talking about sexy, of course.
Sexy,
with the 60.
I don't think me and sexy are in the same sentence anymore.
Why do you think we got the video screen here so they can see the gent? We're hanging out with Hack and Hank, Josh the Juice Clegg. He's Stuart the Gent Conway. I'm John Wiener, and going to be joined coming up next. Really, really excited for this. Really excited about what's happening with the first tee of Central Mississippi. Their executive director, newly on the job, Margo Coleman, will join us next.
The good, the bad, the hard in golf.
This is Play It Where It Lies. We're on all the Bash Brothers media platforms. I'm John Wiener alongside the gent, Stuart Conway. And Stuart, happy to be joined right now by a special guest doing great work right now in Mississippi, Central Mississippi specifically, Margo Coleman, the executive director with the first tee of Central Mississippi here on Play It Where It Lies. Margo, thanks for joining us. How you doing?
I'm doing great, guys. Thanks for having me on today.
Tell us what's happening with the first tee. I know you just took over, I guess, at the beginning of this year as the new executive director. Tell us some of the big things that are happening at the first tee right now.
Well, we've got our big thing is we're finishing up our spring series of classes, and we're gearing up for summer. We've added a new program location at Deerfield Golf Club in Canton. So we'll definitely have programming in Madison County this summer, and we're excited about our summer classes. We're going to have some for 5 and 6 year olds, which will be new for our chapter, and we're going to have classes in all 3 counties this summer. So we're excited about that. We're also getting ready for our school, our national school program. We're adding some schools, some elementary schools and middle schools to our list of schools that offer the national school program
Awesome.
During the PE classes, which is going to be great. We've also added Ollie Thompson as one of our coaches out here at Deerfield. So, so we're excited about that. So we're growing. I know that our chapter's been around for 2 years before I came aboard, or we just had our 2-year anniversary at the end of March. And so, we are a startup, and we're a nonprofit. So we're, actively soliciting, individuals and companies and things to help support us. But we're a youth organization, a youth development organization, as opposed to a junior golf program, which is sort of kind of different for people to understand. The cool thing about the program, and I'm learning more and more every day because my background came from tournament administration and tournament golf, is that we're teaching kids life skills. We're teaching them our 9 core values and 9 healthy habits so that they become positive, productive young adults in the community. And the cool thing is we get to use golf to teach that. So they're having fun while they're learning respect and responsibility and perseverance and judgment and integrity. So it's a great program, and the kids are awesome.
Margo, in terms of the first tee and the type of kids that you work with, and it was important that, this is youth development as much or even more so than junior golf. I think people's conception of the first tee program is, minority inner city kids, lower income, who don't have the financial opportunity or don't have just the opportunity in general to play the game. Is that a fair characterization? And could you just tell a little bit about, the type of kids that you look to bring in and work with?
That is sort of not necessarily it's probably a stereotype because our program is open for all kids. Mm-hmm. We've got homeschool kids. We have kids from JPS. We have kids from private schools.
Awesome.
We have girls, we have boys, we have minority kids. I tell you what's a cool part of this is I'm a former junior golfer. I'm a former college golfer, and so obviously I want women's golf and girls golf to grow. Yeah. And of our class this year, we have 6 girls in our class this spring. Yeah, that's great. And so I think that's pretty good to have 6 girls.
I think it's wonderful
that are there.
Yeah.
But so we're open to everybody, I guess, is what kind of in a nutshell. It's not just inner city minority kids, although we certainly want them in our program. But I think that all kids can need to have positive life skills. I mean, my little boy's 5 years old, and I already see that with him in trying to instill manners and respect and courtesy when you meet somebody. Shaking their hand. That's the first thing we teach them. Shake their hand, find out their name, find out something about them. And you have to teach that at a young age so that when they become young adults and they're out in the community trying to get jobs and go to college and all kinds of things, they can know how to communicate with other people.
Yeah, Margo, I know it's not just the kids that are involved in this, it's also the volunteers who serve on the board. And I think the criteria for getting onto the board is, not everybody can get onto the board, and not every town or every city or every region can get a first tee program going. Is that part of your remit, is to get more people on the board, to get more things going on, and how difficult is it to maintain the criteria and the financial obligations that the First Tee program has?
Well, actually, it is. We do value. We find a lot of value in our board seats. Mm-hmm. We've got 14 board members currently, and our service area is the Tri-County, so Madison, Hinds, and Rankin County. Mm-hmm. And our board members come from all 3 of those counties. But the seats are very valuable because we've got a great mix, a good cross-section of people in the community, educators, lobbyists, just people in the community that are willing to spend their time and to help find us financial support. And one of our goals long term is to take our chapter statewide. There are some other states that have started that model, and it seems to be fairly successful. And hopefully with the connections that we all have throughout the state is that we can get like a satellite program started in Northeast Mississippi and in the Mississippi Delta and the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Would love to have some programming. So we call it programming, but basically our life skill classes. And so we're hoping that we can be there. I'm saying 5 years down the road is that we've got programming going in different parts of the state, and we do rely on volunteers. I mean, we need volunteers to help keep the kids safe. So if you're not a golfer, but you just like helping out and being around kids, and if you don't like kids, the first tee is it's not, the guy that goes, get on my nerves. Well, then probably don't come volunteer at the first tee. Maybe you could do social media for us, but don't come on site. Well, but we do need. But we also are looking for some coaches too. You don't have to be a great golfer. I mean, the lesson plans and the curriculum that we have, it's great because if you know how to play golf, you can teach this. I mean, it's your legs are in letter A, your setup is letter Y. You're really just getting the kids to make contact. And we've got snag equipment we start out with. It's plastic clubs, Velcro, targets with these, they have like a tennis ball, so you're getting a positive reaction from the very beginning. We don't give them a 1-iron and a hard golf ball.
Yeah, you like to carve out a 1-iron when you're 7, no big deal. Margo, real quick before we let you go, you talk about what kids need and coaches, role models, but also stars in the game, to look up to and kind of modeled their game after. And so much of the first tee and the explosion back in the late 90s had to do with Tiger Woods and the way he changed the game and made it sort of a game that was visible for all people. And, 22 years later here, he won the Masters, after his breakthrough win in 1997. And I'm curious if you saw the kids have that reaction to Tiger Woods that we had growing up when he won in the late 90s, and just kind of, what you guys were talking about when it came to Tiger's win.
Well, definitely. That was one of the things I said on Monday after the Masters. I said, how many of you watched the Masters and saw Tiger win? And they were all jumping up and down. I did. It was, it was, I don't know if the young kids, because our group right now is like 12 and under. Yeah. So they're going to kind of have to relearn Tiger, if that's a thing, because they weren't born then.
Right.
And some of their parents are golfers, and a lot of them are not, which is one reason they get them involved in the first tee. They go, hey, they think they like golf, and we want to get them in something positive. But I think Tiger Woods his comeback winning the Masters was awesome. I mean, I don't think there was a dry eye of anybody watching Sunday in golf. And there's so many young people out there who are excited about the first tee and are excited about golf. We've had some conversations with Cameron Champ, who won the Sanderson Farms Championship last year, that when he comes back that he'll do a clinic for our group.
Awesome.
And I think he's a great young, role model, and he's a first tee kid as well. And so we've talked to some LPGA players to try to have them come down and do a kickoff clinic for us. We're trying to do a kickoff clinic prior to each of our seasons. And so on June 1st, we're going to have a kickoff clinic. We've got Corey Vincent from the Country Club of Jackson. He's their teaching pro. He's got a great junior program out there. He's going to come out and help us get the summer season started. And we've got a lot of golfers that are breaking into the professional world in Mississippi, and we're hoping to, as they succeed, that they'll come back and help us and be good role models for our kids, because they are fantastic people.
So awesome to see it all come full circle, and so awesome to have Margo Coleman, Executive Director of the First Tee of Central Mississippi, with us here on Play It Where It Lies. Again, so much of the game of golf and life in the same way. And Margo, keep up the great work. We appreciate you joining us, and we'll be sure to keep talking about what's going on at the First Tee in Central Mississippi. It's a great thing that y'all are doing over there. So keep up the good work, and we'll talk to you again.
Thanks, Margo.
Okay, sounds great. Thanks, guys. Y'all have a great day.
Thanks. You too, Margo. Margo Coleman with the First Tee of Central Mississippi here on Play It Where It Lies. And Stuart, real quick, I thought it was interesting because that is, I think, the conception of the First Tee is that it's black kids in the inner city. And Margo said, look, every young kid, rich or poor, boy or girl, can, learn and be a part of the First Tee, that like it's valuable for everybody. Yeah, it's a part of it, the inner city kids, but she talked about we've got them all. Yeah,
and it's I think also I think that was a great question you asked her there, and a great comment on it all. I think one of the things about the First Tee is it's really not about creating really great golfers. It's about creating great individuals who also can play golf.
Yeah.
And that game will be with them for the rest of their lives. And their life will be more fulfilled playing golf, I promise you.
You hit the nail on the head that there's just a fulfillment to your life in the golf lifestyle. But you heard, Cameron Champ, First Tee product. Like, we'll see more and more of it, Stuart, because it's not about, again, developing great golfers, but a lot of times it can be for a kid like Cam Champ with his background. It's a good example. It can be that place that opens the door,
Indeed,
for the first time and brings people to the game. So really, really good work being done with the First Tee in Central Mississippi. This is a state that needs it, I think, more than just about anywhere.
It does.
You heard her talk about the golf courses that have gotten involved, the instructors around here, the pros, and that's all part of it. It's something that in this day and age where it's like we can't even agree pen in, pen out, or like anything in golf. Like we can all get behind this.
Indeed.
So it's a great job.
Yeah.
Coming up in Play It Where It Lies, we're going to get into this whole gear industry and the scam that can be buying a new set of golf clubs. Just want to get some new clubs, but you're liable to get scammed as much as get the right clubs for you. So we're going to have that coming up on Play It Where It Lies. He's Stuart the Gent Conway. I'm John Wiener. We're driven by Gulf States Golf Cars.
When golf gives and takes away, you play it where it lies.
Big thanks to Margo Coleman for coming on Play It Where It Lies. And, again, you talk about golf putting you in tough spots. I think so much, again, of what the First Tee is about kind of, is embracing that.
It is, and she strained out some of the misconceptions that we all have, some of the glaring errors we make when we look at that and judgments we have of the First Tee and those
honestly,
who are involved in it.
The needs for them, which is just financial in so many ways
it is,
across the board. So if you're looking to help out with the game and young kids' lives, especially here in Mississippi, you heard from Margo Coleman the great work and all the different things that you can be a part of at the First Tee in Central Mississippi. Let's get into our Tough Lies segment for the week. And we heard Margo talking about this. I think it applies to certainly kids starting the game. But as Margo said, it's more about, having fun, how they give them the Velcro clubs half the time. Played with a couple people recently. They need some new golf clubs. They are, each of them, let's say, 13 to 18 handicappers, decent players, I think could really be helped by a set of new irons. They play pretty regularly. Let's say clubs are 7, 8 years old. But Stuart, I don't have faith that if I send these guys to get themselves some new golf clubs, or even if I were to do it for them, like as a quote-unquote golf expert, you know what I mean, a guru, I feel as confident that I would get the wrong clubs or not make like the right purchase for them as I would like that they would get actually the clubs that they need. Do you understand my apprehension there?
No, totally. It's a minefield out there of fitting. And
I'm not even talking about fitting, and I think that's part of it, though, to consider with this is fitting is like, well, just for your average guy, should they get fit? But even just the whole, it can be, I think, mentally overwhelming to even just like, where do you even start?
Well, of course, the place one is marketing. and we're marketed. Golfers, we're kind of idiots, you know. I mean, we believe all the marketing and the hype,
or we'll just do anything to shave a shot.
Well, yeah, and we all think we can go out there. And now we may admit or not admit that we're trying to buy a game or we're trying to improve ourselves or whatever it is, but we don't know anymore the truth about what the golf clubs actually do. Nobody gives us information on a driver or on an iron that you can if you put it on the iron hitter and slap it away there at 80 miles an hour, 90 miles an hour, 100 miles an hour, how far does it go? How much does it spin naturally without you having to impart spin onto it? I'm sure they can adjust those machines to give them all those numbers. We're not given those numbers. We're given us one set of numbers. We're given the lie. We're given the length. We're given how far it should go, but it doesn't tell you who's hitting it when it goes that far, or what the club head speed was when it was hitting that far. And so we're at the hands of marketing and sales, and we don't know what promotions are going on in stores, which are what's happening there. So it is a minefield out there. It is, you know, as you say, before you even get to the fit-in.
You keep saying minefield, and I'm thinking a mine. You know what? You know what I mean? Like in a different sense, because it is sort of the same thing. Like you talk about, like, that's a great example. Like, Stuart, I don't even understand lie and loft and shaft and bounce and spin rate and smash factor. Like, I play golf my whole life. Yeah. I still don't get it. I don't understand it, and it overwhelms me much the same way like you go into a mechanic shop or, you know, wherever, and if you don't know about cars, it can be daunting, and you're sort of at the mercy of them and sort of believe and tell you whatever they want. Like, I don't even think, you know, your average weekend golfer, 16 handicapper looking to get better, I don't even think that stuff registers to begin with, like lie and launch angle.
Yeah, and
you go in there and you hear these pros talking about it, and it just like it can leave you spinning.
Well, I'm certain it does leave people spinning, and people also make the mistake of, you know, Bob got a new set of clubs and he hits them 20 yards longer.
Yes.
And they're going to go buy a set. And it might be totally the wrong club for them.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work for everybody. And so it's very important to go and find somebody who will give you real answers. And they're few and far between. You know,
so
I don't know.
Do you think that someone that you need to have someone guiding you through the process, or can you simplify things and say, well, I don't need to know about, you know, lie angle and smash rate, and I just, you know, because I'm sort of in an old school sense, I think like my dad would say, like, I just want a club that feels good when I have it in my hands, that I think I hit solidly. Is that not enough? Like, that's that's part of the problem, is that you think, oh, you have to go through all of that. I'm not so sure.
Well, I absolutely agree with you, but there are very few places nowadays where you can actually go and get a demo club and take it out. They don't want you to do it. They don't want you to take. They don't have demo sets in anymore where you can take 2 or 3 irons out of a bag. You can take a 5 iron, a 7 iron, and a wedge or something, a 9 iron, and see how those shots. So I still am a great believer in watch the ball. Watch where the ball goes. Don't look at the numbers. We're not looking. We're not tour players. You know, we're not.
I rarely pay attention to it.
So we're getting fit on track, man, but we're getting fit today. And this is the way I'm swinging today. It doesn't mean it's exactly the way I'm going to swing tomorrow.
I had a really bad experience with that and getting fitted. You know, going from my old Titleist CBs to the AP2s, I got fitted. You know, and it's funny. I was out there early in the morning, and there's a lot of people around, and I know that I swung a different swing.
Yeah.
Because for one, I was. You know, there were a lot of people watching who would like listen to the show, and I was like, man, let me not just like flub the few and squirrel, and I got to look like I actually know what I'm talking about. So it was easy swings, and I was grooving it. But I know that it was a great example, and so everything was fitted not based on where the ball was going, but with the lie angle and the smash factor. And they said, "Oh, you're through the roof. You're doing great." I lost a good 9 yards, on every iron that I hit. And it took about 6 months for me to actually say, nope, I'm going back to my old ones. And I love them.
Yeah.
And they feel great. And so like, that was a great example where I won't say the TrackMan lied, but to your point, it was like the stats for the swing that day. What's more important is like how it feels and where the ball goes.
Yeah. It's such a hard thing to do. And you really have to trust somebody a lot to be able to. You're spending a lot of money nowadays, $1,000 plus on a set of irons nowadays, and it's a big investment that you're going to have for 2 or 3 years.
Is it worth it? Should people be looking for like the value irons? Because I think the whole industry is sort of overpriced a little bit, but like that's kind of the market. If you want one of these tailor-made Ping Titleist drivers that are really good, probably going to have to pay $450, $500, which is ridiculous.
$550
I know,
now.
And that's a problem. Stuart too, is that, man, you got to make this purchase, and it's so expensive, and you feel like it's so significant. So, what's our solution here? I mean, what's the best way to go about it? Like in your experience, you've been in the industry for a long time, a pro yourself, run a golf shop now over there with Steven. So you're as in it as you can possibly be. What is the right approach for your weekend kind of 16 handicap?
The first thing when we look at the club and see if you like to look at it. Secondly is go to a place where they're going to give you at least one iron with a shaft in it that you've tried in the store or you've felt and you've looked at. Take it to your local course. Hit it a couple of times on the range. Take it out on the course with you. If it's a 7-iron, hit it where you would have normally hit your 7-iron. See how it reacts. See what it does. And don't rush into it. That's the biggest problem. Is we're in the era of now. I want it now. I want my game. I play badly on Saturday morning, so I'm playing Sunday morning. So on Saturday afternoon, I'm going down to the local big box store and I'm buying a set of golf clubs. And I'm going in there, and it doesn't matter what they are. They're going to be better than what I've got.
And the industry is just bending us over as a result. It just falls right in line to just double the price up, and because not only our like desire to get better, we'll do anything. Golfers will to get the ball in the hole, to save a few shots, but also this idea that it can happen so quickly, from your square strike wedge infomercials all the way to, the commercials for the TaylorMade M2s. It said, "Oh well, you can't miss because of the
twist face, technology."
So there's not only this idea that we want to do anything we can to improve the game. We can do it buying the equipment, and it can happen rather quickly. And that, I think, is just a big scam. I think we're just a lot of times, like in the industry, golfers are like getting scammed. And my experience, I thought, was kind of like emblematic. In some ways, brand new irons, latest from Titleist, like got a fitting, and the old irons that I had that are 7 years old are better for my game.
Yeah, and it matters, of course, whether you go to somebody who's a Titleist guy or is a Ping guy or is a TaylorMade guy. They're going to steer you towards their thing, this and that.
Yeah,
it's
hard to trust.
It is hard to trust anybody, and it often, and more than often, doesn't work when people change their irons. They don't get better, and I'm understanding nowadays that the ability can only take you so far, and then from there technology takes over. But there has to be some ability at the beginning of it.
As Nick Faldo, is one of Hack and Hank's favorite line. As Nick Faldo famously said, "It's not the putter, it's the puttee." So, but to close on that, so I think somebody we can trust entirely, wholeheartedly, unconditionally is the Gent Stuart Conway. But your recommendations, I think, are good ones. For one, don't trust the numbers. Don't trust the inside in the cage. Like, get out on the course, get out on the range, see how the ball reacts, and then I think also equally a big point: don't rush it.
Don't rush
into
it. Yeah.
It's like I had the guy, I hit 3 hybrids. Said, "Oh, that's the one for you. It's clear." And like that makes me feel good. Like, oh, it took.
That's what you want to hear.
Maybe not. I should have maybe rethought that. But Yeah, so it's a tough discussion. I think
tough discussion.
tougher than people realize,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's not until you're kind of like in that experience yourself when you realize what a tough lie simply getting new clubs can be. And I think a real problem with the industry is this thing that's been created where you can't trust anything. There's all of this information out there that you don't know if true. I wrote that down. What you said, we don't know anymore the truth of the golf club. I stopped and wrote it down because I think it's a great way to say it, and you're spot on right there. So, good tough lies. There's plenty more to do with that. We'll continue to talk about it on our tough lies segment every week. But let's go ahead and punch out here as we'll wrap it up on Play It Where It Lies. Quick shout out, a St. Joe. Well, there's a couple tournaments happening here in the Mississippi area. The Mississippi Sports Hall of Fame Scramble out at Annandale is next Monday.
Okay.
And then the week after that, John Bond and the guys over there at St. Joe are doing their Scramble tournament. I think it's at Live Oaks, but it's Monday, May 10th. Gonna have crawfish afterwards. Steve Azar, so that'll be fun. John's a good friend of mine. We support the Mississippi Sports Hall of Fame as well, and the good people over there. So a couple of good golf tournaments here, and it's tournament season, man. I know Randy had his big crawfish boil last weekend, but tournament season is fun. Like I used to not be a tournament guy, but who wouldn't enjoy it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the golf tournament season is great. I'm a word of warning I'm going to give out there to everybody who's organising golf tournaments out there: stop making them so darn expensive. It's starting to turn people off. And there's a lot of tournaments out there. I get requests almost daily for prizes.
I'm sure you do.
And just so my
you
punch
do the
out
old
is
trick, and you're like, oh sure, and then you send the golf cart out there, and for the hole-in-one prize on the 240-yard par 3.
Well, that's what we have to do. I've lost 2 of those. Two. I've lost 2.
That's a staple Gent move right there. Oh yeah, sure. I'll give you, donate my golf cart. Just gotta hold it from 225.
Yeah.
But no, it's true on the tournaments. There can be a lot of them, and they're all expensive. But those are 2 good ones I think to pay attention to.
Yeah, they are.
What's on your punch-out list?
I don't have very much this week on punch-out.
Okay.
I got a lot of traveling to do in the next few weeks, and I'm going to be AWOL a little bit, as I told you earlier, because I got several commitments.
I'm sad about, and we're not going to talk to our audience about that yet. We're going to have to play that one as it lies, man.
Yeah, we will. But, I got a telephone, so we can probably do something. A couple
of other events. The high school state tournament's happening this week. 6A tournament is up at the Ole Miss course, the university course in Ole Miss, which I think is kind of a neat course. It's a little underrated in Mississippi. Have you played the university course at Ole Miss?
No, I played the country club there. But
not the country club. Everyone said the country club. I like the university course a lot at Ole Miss, and 6A state tournament for the guys up there this week. So a lot of good talent, man. I see Coach Beach over there at Madison Central out at the golf course every once in a while, and I'm like, best high school job in America, man. High school golf coach at Madison Central. Yeah. Just show up, sign the list sheet 1 through 5, and let them go. But good luck to all of our 6A guys, the 5A guys. I saw Coach Perry for Germantown. They're down on the Gulf Coast getting to play the Oaks. So that's fun, man. As a high school golfer, getting to play courses like that in tournament condition.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, to be able to get out and play some of those, they're great courses. And we do have some great courses around it. We really do. We really do.
Wells Fargo this week at Quail Hollow. Your interest level?
It's mediocre interest level on this one.
Golf course.
It's a good golf course. It is a good golf course, but it's kind of like one of these. We know already that people are, they're making preparations. They're looking perhaps beyond this tournament.
A little tournament.
A big tournament
at a big course.
As you said,
New York.
Tiger's not going to miss.
No, he's not waking up for the Wells Fargo. I've been seeing the pictures at Bethpage with the grandstands going up, and I'm going to have an opportunity to be at that golf tournament.
That'll be terrific.
Just what a show that's going to be with the Bethpage PGA Championship, PGA for the first time in May, with Tiger coming in as the Masters winner and the favorite, and oh my goodness. And here's something up a little. Champions League semifinals this week, I believe.
Sure is.
You got Ajax on one side, and who are they playing?
Ajax are playing Liverpool.
No, Liverpool's playing Barcelona.
That's right.
That's what I mean.
Tottenham.
It's Ajax and Tottenham, right? Exactly. So we don't even know who's in that matchup. The Liverpool,
Liverpool,
Barcelona. What a semi.
Well, they both are. I mean, Ajax have been playing unbelievable.
I know.
Yeah,
You've
they've
been singing your Ajax song to me for a couple weeks.
Those Nederlanders out there.
It's a fun group, man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'll tell you
the
what.
Netherlands is a great place.
Oh, it sure is. It
always.
sure is. Yeah, we used to spend some time there on our trips over into Europe. And, I mean, Ajax, I mean, what a history. Johan Cruyff, Neyskins, some just great players.
And Tottenham, it's a good club. But, I mean, Liverpool... Barcelona. What a matchup that's going to be.
That is going to be a terrific match. Some people are calling it what should have been the final, but hey, they're all 4 good teams in there. 4 good teams.
And before we close, I'm going to shout out. I'm not going to say his name, but I'm going to close on I always play much better than this guy. I'm never this bad. Stuart, we played with the guy this weekend. He probably was working on 100. I mean, there were triple digits going up, and like the whole round, it was. I'm way better than this, and I never play this bad. And he starts telling me about like this round in Alabama where he shot 75, and this. I think he said, I didn't come close to missing the face all day. You hadn't come close to hitting it today.
Yeah, let me look at the face of those golf clubs. If there's anywhere in the middle.
I've got little to next to nothing for I always play better than this guy.
We have around our place, we have a few habitual. I'm always better than this, other than every Saturday morning.
I was about to say, except that they never are. So that's my question in the end, is like, is the I'm never this bad guy, is he actually always that bad?
Very probably. Very probably.
Without a doubt.
It's a honed-in excuse.
Well, whatever your skill level, time level, enjoyment, expertise, it's what the game is all about. Everybody can play it and enjoy it. And as always, as we say on this show, you can play it on your phone, play it in your car, play it on the course. Just play it where it lies. For Hack and Hank, Josh the Juice, Stuart the Gent Conway, always a pleasure.
It is indeed.
Thank you guys for joining us on Play It Where It Lies. Have a couple of big shows coming up. PGA again in 2 weeks. Can't wait for that. You can get the show anywhere you want. Facebook, YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play. That's the audio. If you're listening to the audio, we encourage you to jump on Facebook and YouTube and BashBrothersMedia.com and see the svelte Gent and my pretty face on screen.
There you go.
We're going to close it out with Play It Where It Lies. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for joining Play It Where It Lies, a Bash Brothers Media golf show and podcast, driven by Gulf States Golf Cars.